welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I turned to Instagram to ask you guys to ask me questions that you wanted answers to. Now, the premise of this video is based on the fact that a couple days ago, I actually watched the last Q&A that I filmed, and it was 5 years ago. So I was 19 years old and I was talking about where I wanted to be at 24. Well, I'm there, I'm 24. Now, I'm not necessarily where I thought I was gonna be in that video, but I'm definitely at the most happiest point of my life. I don't know if I've ever really been happier because I really feel like I'm day by day developing into this person that I know I've always been. I am finally becoming my true self, and I've always been on that path, but at the age of 24, I'm pretty much her. So I figured since it has been so long that I should ask you guys to give me some questions so I can update you on what's been going on in my life and kind of give you the details on everything you wanted to know. So I am gonna look down on my phone if you see me referring to that. That's because I used the questions tab on Instagram, Throwback Thursday, to when everyone was just doing that for fun and everybody was awfully annoyed at the fact that people were asking people to ask them questions. But I did find that it was pretty helpful in a situation like this. So let's just go at it. I'm not gonna mention who asked the questions, but I'm just gonna tell you what the question was and give you my response. So the first question is, what are some of your book recommendations? Now, I am thinking about filming an entire video related to books that have changed my life because I am a pretty avid reader. I always have a book that I am reading at the moment. Now, some of my days are more saturated with reading than others, but I kind of tried to make it a habit to read at least a chapter a night. I find that doing that just puts my head in a good space before I go to bed, leaves me with some fresh inspiration, and I usually wake up feeling motivated. So one book that has definitely changed my life that I highly recommend if you have not read it yet is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. It's just basically all about how to becoming the best version of yourself, and I think reading her book is really what kickstarted my drive to developing into this, you know, badass woman that I think I am now. I picked the book up as I was going through a breakup, and it really just helped me get through it. She put such simple ideas that we already know into even simpler, more achievable terms. So she just basically made me feel like anything I want out of life is within my reach. And I definitely think that I changed as a person after reading that book. One more book that I do want to mention too, because I recommend it to pretty much everyone that is either dating or in a relationship or even married, and that is Why Men Love Bitches. And the title can seem a little off-putting, but it is one of those life-changing reads. Again, simple things we already know, just put into a different perspective that like makes you feel like you've been hit with a bus of kind of new information. It's like, I don't know, you feel like the prophet has just came down and released some unknown information you were not capable of tapping into. So I think it's prevalent to every stage of your relationship, and it basically tells you how to get what you want of that relationship without like begging for it. Someone asked, would you ever considering moving to a different city? If so, where? So if you are unfamiliar, I have been born and raised in South Florida. The farthest move I've made is 45 minutes, and that's where I live currently from where my hometown is. Although I travel quite often because my mom is a flight attendant, so I have experienced many parts of the world and many parts of the US as well. I do have 3 cities that are my top thus far, that if I was to ever consider moving to, these would be the top of my list. San Francisco, I just went there this past month. I will have that city guide listed above so you can check it out. If you've never been to San Francisco, the vibe there is just like A1. Like California's vibe is just a vibe all in itself. So I really liked how kind of everyone is just themselves there. Like it's just, I don't know, a no BS zone. Another city I really liked was Boston. I'm not really big into history, so I didn't like it for that reason, but I liked it because it was on the water. It's a cleaner New York, and there's just, again, so much to do. The food was good, the vibe was good, a lot of young professionals, so I felt at home there. And the third place I really like, which I'm actually visiting in September, is Chicago. I went to Chicago it'll be 2 years ago, actually. 2 years this month was the last time I visited there, and it was amazing. Like, Chicago has so much to do. There's so many different neighborhoods to visit. It kind of like, again, is all about the vibes. Like, what do you feel like doing? Like, we can take you to a part of Chicago that offers that. But again, a lot of young professionals, and it's just beautiful there. So if it wasn't so cold, Chicago would definitely be at the top of my list. Someone asked, how long was your longest relationship and how long did it take you to get over the guy? So the longest relationship I was in was with my ex-boyfriend, Mason, and we dated from my senior year of high school to the beginning of my sophomore year of college. We lived together, and that was definitely, I would say, my most mature relationship, in the sense that, you know, living together is pretty dang serious, but, you know, things just don't work out, and that's kind of, you know, the way life goes. And it definitely took me a while to get over him, just like it takes me a while to get over any person that I care about. And at that time, it may feel like you're never going to get over that person. How are you ever gonna live life without them? I promise you, you'll be fine. Maybe right now you're not, but give it some time. The bruises will heal, the wounds will be covered up. You'll be living your best life, and to be honest, they kind of become like a distant memory. I don't know if that's just me, but kind of all the guys that I've dated that never really worked out, like, they're just kind of like, wow, I can't believe that was even part of my life, because I'm so like surrounded by who I'm with now and so kind of like focused on my life at this point that I almost forget they were even relevant. Oops. So I thought this question was one that I really wanted to answer, because I do get it asked frequently, and that's around how much did you make your first month working for Monat. So if you guys are unaware, I'm a market partner for Monat, which means I own my own business. I am my own boss, and this is just another side thing I do. You guys know I like having multiple streams of income. So this is just something that I picked up because it was one of those opportunities that kept being thrown at me. I kept like hearing about it, kind of shying away from it, and it kept coming up in random conversation, whether I knew someone who had just started, you know, selling the product, or they were using the product. It was just like right here, and I'm a big believer of signs, so I said yes to the opportunity, and it has been one of the best things I've ever said yes to. The community of women that I'm surrounded by, they're so like-minded, they're so goal-oriented and hardworking and driven, and to be honest, on top of that, not only is there good money to be made, but the product itself is actually good. Like, that's all I use on my hair now. So many people ask how my hair is so shiny, and I have people in person that know me, and they're like, wow, like, you know, you've always had good hair, but your texture has really transformed. And I don't attach my name to just anything, so you gotta know it's gotta be good if I'm talking about it on camera. But to answer that question, I actually didn't make any money my first month, and that's not unusual, but it is unusual as well, because some girls make $200 in their first week. You know, you can make $600 in your first week. It just kind of depends. And so sometimes even with someone with a following like mine, people are like, oh, that's why, you know, she's so successful. And that's not necessarily the case. There's different speeds for different people, and you know, it's been months now since I've joined, and have I made really good money since I've joined? Absolutely. Did it come overnight? Absolutely not. That's not how any business works. You have to put in the time, you have to be consistent, and you have to remember why you said yes. So every day I remind myself why I say yes, and that's why I keep propelling in this business. So someone asked, do you want to have the exact same political and religious views as your future partner? And I'll just be honest with you about my political and religious views, because I'm pretty open on this channel, so I feel like it's something I can talk about. Politically, I would definitely say, like, financially, I'm conservative, but like view-wise, I'm very liberal. I want the best for everyone, and I think that we all deserve the same quality of life. My college was very liberal, so a lot of the times we had protests on campus, and I thought that was a really cool environment to be in. I'm that type of person. I voice my opinion, and I think everybody should be granted the right to voice their opinions, whatever that may be. So do I care if my partner has a different political view? I don't know. I just want them to be a good person. So if your political view still aligns with you being a good person, then you can believe whatever you want. And that's the same to go with religion. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I've not been to church in many years. Does that mean that I don't believe in God? I don't really use that term anymore. I still believe in a higher power. I still believe in a source. I still believe in, you know, the universe and creation. But I don't really like attaching names to everything. I think sometimes by attaching such strong words with like such huge value to them complicates things. You know, you believe what you believe, and as long as it's for the greater good of mankind, then I'm okay with that. Do you want to pursue a higher degree than undergraduate? And the answer is no. I went to a 4-year university and I got my bachelor's degree in communications, and that's sufficient for me. I put in my time and I'm good with my degree. Another question, what do you do when you're feeling down / very unmotivated? And then she wrote, love you, and I love you back. So to be honest, I go through funks like everybody else. For the most part, I do try and stay positive. I do like to be an optimistic person and try and see the greater good in any situation. But that doesn't mean I don't get down. That doesn't mean I don't get sad. That doesn't mean I don't get lazy sometimes. But I allow myself that period of sadness, of anger, of, you know, laziness. I allow myself to feel that for a little bit, and then I need to pull myself out of it. It's okay to experience an emotion, but it's not okay to dwell in that emotion. So things that I have found that have helped me, I love reading motivational books. I like listening to podcasts. I can do an entire video dedicated to, you know, things that I find uplifting. But another thing that I did a couple months ago when I was reading You Are a Badass, and I'd say it was pretty inspired from that book, is creating a You Are a Badass board on Pinterest. So I pin my favorite quotes and just kind of affirmations that make me feel good about myself. I really like quotes. I've always been a person that liked quotes. So reading powerful words just about how you can, again, get anything you want out of life if you just believe it's possible, really puts me in a good headspace. So I will have my Pinterest link down below. I don't use it that much, but I do, you know, pin recipes, workout inspiration, and quotes on there. So if you're looking for some motivation, inspiration, you can definitely follow me on Pinterest. I will have that linked for you there. Now we're getting to the juicy stuff. How can you tell in the beginning if you want to be serious with a guy or if it's just for fun and vice versa? To be honest, I'm probably the wrong person to ask that question, because my past 2 like relationships or like flings with the dude definitely started from a place of casual dating for me. I was not really interested, but kind of just like liked them as a person and liked them as a friend. So because I liked them as a friend, over time I was able to develop feelings for them. So I think my way of telling like whether something's gonna be casual or serious is a little bit blurred, but I can tell you one thing. If I don't even like you at the friend level, that'll never develop into anything else. For me, friendship is such a core of a relationship. And I'm also that type of person, like I know immediately whether we're gonna click or not. So I think as long as you have a friendship, who's to say that it couldn't develop into something more romantic? Another dating question is, did you ever go on an online dating site and would you find a boyfriend? So I have been on a dating site before. It was an app called The League. It was a little bit more prestigious. It had to be connected to your LinkedIn account. So it was a bunch of young professionals. You know, and occasionally I would go on there when I was bored and like flip through. He would message me and then I would respond, then he would respond again, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm just not a dating site type of girl. I've since deleted that app. I didn't find it useful, and I think I'm gonna meet someone organically in person. So for me, it was just kind of like a waste of space on my phone. But that's not to say it can't work for you. If you're interested and open to meeting someone through a dating site, then definitely sign up. Like, what works for me is not gonna work for you and vice versa. So don't shy away from something just because there's a stigma around it. Like, go on there and find out for yourself whether you're interested in it or not. Here's a lighthearted question, and that's my favorite chocolate bar. Honestly, like, I love candy. I love chocolate. I'm such a sweets person. Like, my sweet tooth is pretty heavy. A favorite chocolate bar, that's kind of hard. Like, I will never discriminate against chocolate. The cookies and cream one by Hershey's though, that's pretty live. Someone asked, do you plan on buying a house in the near future? Love you and your videos. Thank you so much for your support. I too plan on getting a place in the future. Is it gonna be a house? I don't really know, because that kind of depends on, you know, the city that I'm living in. Is houses kind of what's the norm, or is it a apartment or a condo? That kind of just depends, but I know that I'm not going to make such a permanent decision until I'm set that that's gonna be the place that I'm living. When you make such a large investment, you want want it to come back full circle. You want to make sure that investment is returned. So I don't want to buy something and then move from it, you know, a year or two later. I just don't think that would be smart of me. So as of right now, I am going to continue renting for the rest of the year, and then when next year comes around, we will definitely keep that in mind for my next living situation. Someone asked, how old am I? I am 24 years old and I will be 25 on the 13th of February. Someone also asked, where is your favorite place that you've traveled? One US and one international. So I listed my 3 favorite cities in the beginning of this video. I'd still say those are probably my 3 favorite cities. I really enjoy traveling to them and like would continuously go back to them. A place that I've been internationally that I really loved is Barcelona. Spain in general as a country is just so, again, the vibe is just there. Everybody is laid back and like living. Like that's all I can say about Europe, is that people truly live there. So I did live abroad in Barcelona for 6 weeks. I have an entire playlist about studying abroad. So that's on my main channel. You can definitely check that out to see what it was like living in Barcelona. A question I thought was important is, what are some events in your life that have had the biggest impact on you? And the reason why I think this is so important, because maybe this is not something that I've discussed on my channel, but since I've been alive, I've actually lost 8 of my immediate family members. So I've had to deal with 8 people in my family dying, and a lot of them were cancer related. Actually, 6 of them were cancer related. So cancer has been such a prevalent thing in my life that I've had to watch people just go through hell, to be honest. And losing my dad was really hard. I was 16 when he got sick. Losing my grandma this past year was really hard as well. While she was sick with cancer, my roommate and best friend Brittany also moved away, so it was a lot coming at me at one time. But I think definitely dealing with the death of a family member or a death in general is the hardest thing you'll ever have to go through. Life will throw challenges at you, but to know that you will not see someone for a very long time is probably the hardest pill I've ever had to swallow. One of the questions was workout routine and normal meals. I actually did film an ab circuit today that will be included in Monday's vlog, so stay tuned for that. As for normal meals, I do eat plant-based. I don't eat meat. I've cut out eggs, so that's also something I no longer have in my diet, but predominantly I like to focus on a protein such as tofu, tempeh, something of that sort. I like to include vegetables in it, and I like quinoa, brown rice. I make a lot of bowls or salads or things kind of substance, because your girl likes to eat. Just because I have a restricted diet does not mean I, you know, deprive myself. I'm always trying new recipes, so again, check out that Pinterest because a lot of the recipes I try are from there. Another dating question: have you ever been cheated on? How do you keep that from affecting you as a person in a future relationship? With every dating situation I've been in, I've definitely had the guy doing some sketchy things that I did not like, that eventually I had to confront them on. It's just kind of a matter of life. Like, you are gonna go through periods of time where you might not trust someone, but always give that person the benefit of the doubt in the sense of allowing them to do things if they wanted to. I'm not someone to restrict my partner from going out or hanging out with their friends. I don't want to be controlled, so for that sense, I'm not going to control someone else. And I believe that people are going to do what they want to do, whether you tell them to or not. So you just got to hope that the person that you're with is going to be trustworthy and respectful. And if they're not, toodaloo. I want to ask, how did you start in the modeling business? I had my first set of professional photos taken when I was in 7th grade. My dad was actually a really big influence on me starting to model. I think we had a lot of outside people being like, oh, she's tall, you know, she's thin, she's pretty, like this would be well for her. But I didn't really start actually modeling till I would say I was like 17. So from 17 till now, my jobs have been rather consistent. I haven't done any huge campaigns, but I definitely have done, you know, things that have helped pay my bills and have given me some awesome experiences. The last question I want to answer today is, what do you edit your videos on and is it hard? I have not developed with the times. I've had a MacBook for as long as I can remember, and with a MacBook comes iMovie. So iMovie is pretty basic as it gets, and it gets the job done for me. Now, could I move on to something more advanced? Obviously, such as like Final Cut Pro or something, you know, that would maybe make my videos a little bit better. Yes, but I'm kind of just one that like is content with where I'm at, and I think iMovie's doing it for me. It can be a little bit daunting if you're not used to editing videos, but if you just play around with it a little bit, you'll get the hang of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got to learn a little bit more about me. If you have any questions that I did not answer in this video that you would like me to answer in upcoming videos, leave them down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button because I do post new videos every Monday and Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Until my next video, I will see you guys then. Bye. Mwah.